to be honest, when I saw their lineup. Solo mid, Exhort, Invoker, or Prophet there, and then Prophet safe lane, either way. Put a lot of pressure on the tri-lane. I thought maybe they'd go more of a Virtus Pro style and really take the fight to Spectre in the tri-lane. There was a twin-headed dragon, there was a Visage. It's a pretty strong defensive lane, but we see what happens when Spectre gets free farm. And when a game goes late against LGD, Orange, they're a strong team, they have their strengths, but I don't think taking a game late on even footing is going to work for them. I feel the recipe for success for this team, get ahead early and keep on rolling. And they just couldn't do it here.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they should have at least tried to apply some pressure on Spec. She's not the same as like an anti-mage or a PL where you hit a mid-game timing when they're in between their first big item and the second big item.
Yeah.
She's a hero that you want to shut down before she gets her first big item. And I think that differentiation sort of wasn't reflected enough in Orange's play. I said that they want to kill her all game, but they never really did anything to her.
I mean, truth be told, sure, Prophet slowed down the supports, didn't stop Sylar from farming at all. So, well, we've talked about this one a lot. It was a bit of a slower game. Analysts, your thoughts?
Well, welcome back to the analyst panel. Good game, nonetheless. We can see LGD here actually looking pretty happy after their win over Orange Esports. To me, the big thing the two main things. We had the Spectre pick coming out from LGD, and Orange going for an unseen Invoker pick early on. I feel the Invoker pick was one of the big weak links to their lineup because they ran it in a safe lane. They're two sort of main DPS farming heroes with the Gyrocopter at mid, which is a fine matchup, and your Nature's Prophet. But Nature's Prophet was up against the safe lane tri-lane. He couldn't get a whole lot of early farm. He never really felt like one of the core heroes, and they're giving a lot to this Invoker who, doing Quas Wex isn't really a core hero. If you go the Exort build, you're doing a lot more damage, but with Quas Wex Invoker, you're not really justifying that safe lane farm.
Yeah, it was really a lot of questionable decision coming out from Orange. Nature's Prophet, generally, when you get that hard shut down the lane, you just ditch lane and say jungle. You know, if you lose the tower, that's fine. He missed a couple of stacks. Things happen, so I'm not going to harp too much about that. My big concern about Orange is that their item builds and their skill builds reflected very little damage output. They were winning the mid game. They were talking about early Blink Dagger and Nyx Assassin. That's a good sign that your supports are doing this well. But your Prophet's going to force to go mech first, so no damage. You got Scythe next, which is a great item for the team, but no damage. Your Gyrocopter is going for Drums, BKB, Satanic. Good survivability, no damage.
Yeah, back in the game 1 against
Invoker.
DK. Well, for the Nature's Prophet, back in game 1 against DK where the pick worked out, it was when he went for that Midas
Shadowblade into Daedalus, more deeps.
Yeah.
Deeps. Invoker going for Quas Wex, which had great AoE control. Mana Burn's really nice against
Kawa, bring up the deeps counter.
Can I have like a different person on the panel with me?
There's a ton of damage, right?
Okay.
So Mana Burn,
which is
really good against Darkseer, against Night Stalker, but who cares if they have no mana if they don't ever kill them? Good item reflection coming out from DK. They just tanked up and let the Radiant slowly chipped away, and there's just no damage output from Orange when they won the mid game. So lack of deeps.
As far as the LGD lineup's concerned, Spectre pick once again worked out for them. Last time they used it was against IG. It worked out well there. It's something really interesting to note, which I don't know if people picked up on yet. They're picking the Spectre only after they get the Darkseer. They'll get the Darkseer first 2 picks, and then they go into the Spectre. If they don't have they have not picked Spectre when they haven't had Darkseer.
Yeah.
It's always with the Darkseer. The Iron Shell synergizes nicely with the Spectre. Phase Drums build, and you have the Spectral Dagger as well. You're getting that extra Iron Shell damage off, which actually makes a big difference for a hero like Spectre.
I mean, Ali talked about it. It really forces, if they clump up too much, Vacuum Wall is going to get them. If they spread open, Desolate's going to get them. I was personally a little bit surprised about the late Desolate build as well. Generally, we've seen the Western scene Desolate max at 7, and it does, well, a ton of damage. The bigger thing, especially the way that they've been using it, right? They just use it for haunt kills. Why not max Desolate? It's just so much more effective. But they won the game, so.
They won the game. Orange, they're actually on stage here with a bit of an interview. Interesting to see them after that game 1 loss, but they're going to be looking to bounce back, try and take game 2. Do you think they can do it? I mean, LGD, obviously, they've had more time to rest. They've had time to watch Orange Esports in their previous match against DK. They probably have a better plan in mind, but Orange, are they a team who can bounce back and take game 2, maybe even game 3?
Definitely, but the draft have to be smart. Item choices and decision making have to be pristine. This is not a team that you run over. LG is just too good for that. I'm not exactly sure what they're saying.
Well, this is actually just, I guess, a bit of a post-game 1 interview with KYXY, it looks like. One of the more quieter Orange players. So interesting to see him getting interviewed here. He's played a fantastic tournament. His lone druid played throughout. Orange Esports, I agree they can do it. It's LGD, and LGD has been the hot team this tournament. I mean, we talk about, look at these 3 days. Korik was saying it in his blog post on Team Liquid. He believes that only 2 teams showed their full potential this tournament, LGD and Alliance. Every other team has had some disappointing showings, some disappointing results. And we can see here, well, those 2 teams are the 2 teams looking to finish on that top 2. Orange, they played decently. I feel like after those 2 teams, they've probably been the next level below. DK have had an okay tournament, but Alliance and LGD have just stolen the show. And LGD, unless Orange shows something new in Game 2, LGD will take it 2-0 and will have a fantastic grand final.
I'm not even
story.
sure what the LGD's bring in their A game right now in that last game. I think it was it was good. Like
that was like their B plus.
Yeah,
game.
yeah. It's not an A+ game where they will take on Alliance.
Back
if they play like that, they don't beat Alliance.
Back in the group stage, I think was their A game. They played fantastic and
so
had some really nice games.
It's their first game day, maybe a little bit rusty. There's a cake now.
It's his birthday?
Maybe.
All right, I guess we need the cake out there.
Well, we could actually look at the player profile, unless they say 010 in 1991.
I have a birthday.
We got to look at the cake. Look at that thing, man. Aren't you hungry?
No, I'm good actually. I've had.
We had some eggs. We had some hash browns. Thank you, AUI.
Breakfast.
Can we get a birthday check on?
That's the real reason we
KYXY?
brought him here, because he actually cooks.
Yeah, can we get a birthday check on KYX?
Oh, he's sharing the cake with Aki. Is it? Oh, it's Aki's girlfriend's birthday, but not Aki's birthday. I saw him actually make a little post saying he was dedicating his wins to his girlfriend, whose birthday it was, while he was in China.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think that gets him cake.
What a boyfriend.
But I don't know. We need to do some get some info.
Yeah,
from
where's
the
my cake? My
database.
birthday's coming up.
Why is she sharing cake with Aki? Like, he should be throwing the cake to his face. Like, they're mortal enemies right now.
Well, I imagine Alliance are probably hoping Orange maybe at least take it to a game 3. Tire out LGD, force a game 3.
Alliance says they want Orange, because Orange will be playing, what, the 7th or 8th game in a row?
They would love
that's
Orange,
tough.
I feel. I mean, and LGD, as far as who you give a better shot in the grand final, I'm sure they'd much rather verse a team like Orange. Nothing to take anything away from Orange. They've had a great tournament and potentially could cause an upset there in the grand finals. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we're going to have a game 2 coming up. It's going to be Orange up against LGD China. Orange are down 1 game. Stay tuned, everybody. I'm Gots, he's Luminous, and we'll be back with game 2 soon.
Hello, everybody. We're getting set for Game 2 of Orange versus LGD. I just want to let you all know that for those who are having issues with the Dota TV audio, I can't promise this will solve your problems, but Valve has told me that it may help if you go into your console and try increasing the value for CL_voice_buffer_time, basically the command that you see in front of you at the bottom of the screen. The default value is 0.1. I guess you should try something like 0.2, maybe a little bit higher to start. If it doesn't help, try increasing it more. I have no personal experience using this command, but Valve did tell me they recently added it. It may help resolve some of the stuttering and audio issues with Dota TV. I realize a lot of you aren't watching on Dota TV, but if you have friends that are, who bought a ticket and are experiencing issues, again, please let them know they should give this console command a shot. The solution is to increase it, if anything. So with that being said, looks like Game 2 about to get underway. We'll be right back with that after this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Game 2 of LGD China versus Orange Esports, your semi-final showdown for the G1 League Season 5. Winner of this match is guaranteed a minimum of $13,000 in prize money. The prize money for second place is that. First place, well, you're looking at over $40,000. So, a lot of prizes. This is a must-win game for Orange Esports. If they lose, they'll be eliminated. LGD leading that best of 3, 1-0. I'm LD. I'm joined. I can't even remember my name. Jesus Christ. I'm LD. Joined here by AUI 2000. And AUI, I'm going to let you talk in a second. We'll hop inside the draft. For those of you guys who haven't already heard, there is because we were playing commercials, so I'm going to mention it again. There is a console command for those who are watching Dota TV, experiencing issues with the audio stuttering. We can jump inside the game now, I think. Basically, we'll put a console command in the chat for you guys. Valve has said that adjusting this value may help. So it's going to be CL_voice_buffer_time. You're actually showing my email right now, which is my fault for alt-tabbing because I forgot it. My bad. But we'll put the console command in chat. Basically, the default value is 0.1. You want to try increasing it a bit. No promises. We haven't tested it, but Valve says it may help with the stuttering in-game. So with that being said, that out of the way, AUI, it's Game 2, LGD China versus Orange Esports. Do you think Orange have a shot here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last game we saw them dominate the mid game, and I feel like if they had gotten a bit more damage on their heroes, I mean, we see 4 staff from Volker into a Hex. As Lumi mentioned, we saw Mech, Hex from Furion, and the Satanic BKB on Gyro. They really weren't able to kill any of LGD's heroes, but they weren't in a bad position at all in that game.
They lacked damage a little bit. Whereas you saw for LGD, they went for the Manta style and Sylar, and Radiance as well, a lot of damage.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, that was the difference. I mean, both teams were very tanky. They both had their mechs up relatively early. They both built quite defensively. But LGD was able to also do damage on top of that.
I also thought LGD, they just had better fight selection and better movement. And I think that's really where Orange, their movement is, I would say, equally good, if not better, in the laning stage, but where they really struggle is in the mid game. Just in terms of choosing the right fights, having the vision up. I mean, that one fight at the Roshan pit, that was just not a good place to get caught by a Darkseer.
Yeah, for sure. And that actually reflects in a couple of Orange's mid-game smoke. You can say, for example, they smoked one time towards mid, and then rotate it all the way to the tier 1 top. I mean, they got a tower out of it, but they wasted a lot of time there and a smoke.
And they were the team with the profit. They were the team that should have been able to trade favorably with regards to towers. So we enter the draft now. We'll take a look at that. Visage gets banned. Even though that game didn't feel like it was all about the Visage, the familiar stuns were big, and I just feel like whenever the enemy team is Visage, hard to go aggressive tri-lane, and LGD is a team, if you don't go aggressive versus them, they really know how to take advantage of the jungle. So I like that ban a lot. But how do you feel as well about this Nyx Assassin first pick?
It's a bit odd. I mean, I always talk about this, but this hero, sometimes he doesn't get picked, sometimes he gets first pick.
It's like teams don't, some teams just, teams don't know what to make of him, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he really screws around with a lot of strategies,
right.
But in some other ones, he's completely useless. For example, you're against a lone druid lifesteal strat, the Nyx doesn't really do anything.
Right.
But if you're against someone who's relying on, say, a Queen of Pain or a Puck to do a lot in the mid game, you get 1 mana burn off on them, you win an entire team fight.
Well, the one thing for Orange is, and maybe they'll go back to it here, but this team has had a lot of success with Mushi playing Queen of Pain. That's where they've had some of their signature wins. It's, I think, his most successful hero traditionally. We also see him on heroes like the Templar Assassin a lot. They'll go Gyro again. They'll go Clockwork this time, so that's a bit of a diversion. Gives them a lot of AoE, gives them control they were lacking, and the one nice thing is they didn't have that initiator last game. Sure, they had the Nyx with a blink. That's not a great initiator. It's decent. Now you have Clockwork, so now you can choose fights whenever you want.
And their setup is also really nice for them. They sort of, like, LGD doesn't really want to put that Meg versus them, but they don't really want to offlane the Meg either, because he's not really going to get much into offlane. Actually, he shouldn't get anything into offlane versus the Gyrocopter.
5 seconds
so
remaining.
There's not really a good lane for Meg right now.
Yeah.
It's just because Clockwork's so good against the mid. The Shadow Demon is sort of standing in China, and there's a Kunkka pickup.
So there's a Kunkka. We've seen LGD take this mid. Xiao 8 plays it when it goes there. We've seen Yao tri-lane it. Options are open. I mean, the mag you mentioned, he doesn't normally do much in the off lane, but there is this threat of maybe LGD. They just send the mag mid. They say, just bottle Crow, spam your nukes. Maybe you lose the lane a little bit, but you'll still get some farm and some levels, and we're just going to crush this tri-lane with Kunkka, Shadow Demon +1.
That is a pretty decent option. Personally, I actually don't like Shadow Demon Kunkka that much in aggressive. You spend 2 of your spells to get 1 nuke off that isn't... I mean, it's
you have like no follow-up after that.
Yeah, it feels... I mean, it's not that bad against certain tri-lanes, but it's not like one of the, like, oh, if I go against this tri-lane, I'm completely going to lose the game.
Right. And there's some strong heroes to punish that kind of tri-lane. There's a Keeper of the Light still in the pool. While they're going in to try and combo, say, your Gyro, you're spamming Illuminate, you wipe them all to half HP suddenly.
Yeah, and Kodo actually would be quite nice for him, just because he sort of makes up for the fact that Nyx isn't that strong in lane.
Yeah, and they can farm the stacks well. That gets Nyx a quick level 6.
And they are on Radiant, which means that their jungle is very, very nice for farming.
Okay.
You can get those double, triple pulls, and if you don't want to do that, you can just stack the hard camp, have your supports farm that. So,
and because they're on Radiant, it means if LGD go aggressive, they can't pull the creep wave themselves, so it's even harder for them.
I actually don't think that LGD will go aggressive here. I think it actually looks like they might be sending the Meg to off lane.
Yeah.
He's good against, like, if he can get EXP, then he's really good as an offlaner. But sometimes I see Meg, he just gets shut down. Like, that Furion last game, if that was a Meg, he actually wouldn't really get anything. And he would be pretty useless.
And even Ohio was slowed down a lot that game.
Yeah.
But the difference was, you can be more disruptive on a Prophet, because you have the trance, you can block creep camps, you can pull the waves. Magnus can't really do that. So if he can't get something just from the lane itself, he can stack Ancients. That's about it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, he can't even really mat up on the support, which is often quite problematic. He doesn't have the best animation. He's fast, but the movement speed isn't enough to, like, really make him chase after the support, lock him down, unless you're against something like a CM. But then CM has, like, ridiculous spells for keeping someone out of lane anyways.
So if we look at RNG Sports, we've seen Mushi, he's played safe lane Gyro, and he's played mid Gyro. So either one is certainly possible here. Speaking of which, they'll ban out the Spectres, so respect towards LGD's carries and trying to force them out of their comfort zone. But what I want to talk about is, if they put the Gyro mid, they could run an aggressive China with Nyx, maybe Keeper of the Light, and then a +1. And that could put a lot of pressure on LGD. You mentioned Gyro can actually win his lane versus Magnus if Magnus is in the off lane, especially if you pull the Gyro. Clockwork can dominate Magnus mid. You've talked about that quite a few times. And I feel like Orange, they have a very good shot at winning at least 2 of their lanes, if not all 3, if they go that way.
I think the spec ban sort of points to the... I think the spec ban means that Orange is going for a defensive tri
Right,
lane.
yeah.
Because they thought that LGD was going to dual lane mid with Shadow and Kunkka, pick a Megan off lane and put spec +1 top. That's really the spec setup. Or Kunkka mid defensive tri. And they didn't really want to aggressive, so they just chose to ban that hero out.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, just because we haven't seen LGD run that dual lane. They're either Kunkka goes solo mid or he tri lanes.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing, right? Kunkka goes mid, and then you have a defensive tri lane with spec.
True.
And all three of their bans are sort of aimed at those heroes that can farm really well with that free farm.
So it seems like Orange, even though most of their success has been just having a good start and then rolling from there, they're going to try and take this game a little bit later. They don't want to feel pressured to have to force fights too early. Maybe they'll select some fights, but they don't want to be operating under a clock, or at least that's the goal with a lot of these bans.
5 seconds
And
remaining.
LGD actually banned out Windrunner, which sort of surprises me. I'm trying to think of how Orange would use that hero, but they do go for that Kodo that we mentioned earlier.
They go for the Kodo, doesn't have to be aggressive, can just farm the jungle, and is the best hero in the game for just farming the jungle stacks at the early levels.
Yep, as a support, Kodo consistently gets the most farm, I think,
Yeah.
out of any other support hero.
And it's all free, too. He doesn't have to worry about mana. Though, I mean, you can also zone the enemy heroes out of lane really well. So if LGD went aggressive tri lane, I mean, the one concern is
10
at the early
seconds
levels,
remaining.
Keeper of the Light is vulnerable if he gets caught out. Positioning has been a concern for this team. LGD go back for a
Orange's
Jakiro.
turn to pick.
Generally more of a defensive support, but with this kind of setup, if they wanted to be aggressive, they could too. What is Sylar going to play? That's my question now. His obvious heroes all banned out. The Lone Druid, the Anti-Mage, we saw the Spectre, kind of that pocket pick. If you're LGD right now, I mean, we could even bring up the hero pool on your screen. What do you think Sylar's going to play?
Oh man, I actually would really need that hero pool to look at heroes. I mean, there's a Luna still in the pool that
10
wouldn't be that
seconds
bad. She's
There
a
you
bit
go.
weak versus Clockwork just because you need a BKB in order to get your spells off
5
against Barrier. So
seconds
Nyx and
remaining.
Kodo also have a lot of burst, but I really like Luna as a hero just because she provides a lot of push, which LGD actually lacks right now. So I would really like that hero for them. There's
5
also
There's
seconds
a
remaining.
Phantom Lancer, I guess.
I would prefer a PA over a Phantom Lancer, but that's actually going on Orange's side.
Wow, Orange are going to go for it. So this really throws a wrench into our lanes. Now it looks like probably a Clockwork off lane, a Gyro mid, and then a PL defensive tri lane.
Yeah, and
When you need a win, AUI, sometimes you just got to go PL.
And that sort of explains why they banned out all the strong short lane farmers. They don't even want LGD to try to be able to fight them in farm because they have such a strong defensive lane. Kodo just makes any defensive lane so strong, not really because the Illuminate is a good
seconds
Neo,
remaining.
which it is, but because Illuminate allows you to push the lane up so hard that the other team
5
can't contest your
seconds
pull, and then you
remaining.
out-level them, you don't really out-farm them if they're have a really strong talent, but you definitely out-level them, and levels are a lot more important than gold early on. You can use, say, 3 level 3 heroes versus like level 2 aggressive heroes, and you'll kill them, pretty much no matter how unfavorable that matchup
They'll go
is.
Luna. So right on the money there. One of Sylar's other heroes. Haven't seen it as much lately, but gives you a strong 5-man lineup for LGD. We'll hop into the game in just a few moments, but you look at what Orange has. Luna, a pretty strong 1v1 solo against a lot of heroes. I think Clockwork a hero where she'll need some help, though.
Yeah, Clockwork actually beats Luna in a 1v1 usually. We've tried it a lot because we're trying to figure out what heroes, if they offlane the Clockwork, you can sort of
Yeah.
punish them with.
How about
And-
if you pull the Luna? Does that matter? Not really.
It helps a little bit, but Cogs are just too powerful. And when Clockwork hits level 3, he sort of has kill potential on the Luna. Whereas Luna can never really get that kill potential on the Clockwork. Also, like, you need to buy a bottle on the Luna, which isn't as good on her as, say, it is on the Clockwork.
Yeah, that's gold that you're not spending
10
towards items that help you more
remaining.
later, like Ring of Aquila, your early Tranquil Boots, your drums. Well, with that being said, guys, we'll talk more about the lanes, but let's introduce the players. On the side of LGD, we've got the man himself, Directorate on his Kunkka. Sylar,
for
going to be
battle.
playing that safe lane. Luna Yao, known for his Magnus play. At times, he has been sensational. The last time I saw him play Magnus against Clockwork, though, he did struggle quite a bit. CTY really shut him down. Is he going to be going off lane? Looks like he might even start in the jungle. At least he's grouped up with his team for the time being. DD on that Jakiro. And last but not least, we'll have D